Good morning, everybody. On behalf of the Mount Washington Valley Economic Council, we welcome you. We're glad that a number of you are going to be here so that we can learn more about one of the resources that we should be very proud of, but is unfortunately kind of hidden up on the hill. And so not everybody has made it up here. I want to thank Dan Kennedy of White Horse Press for being our sponsor today. And we also, as an economic council, have several sponsors: the New Hampshire Electric Co-op, the Bank of New Hampshire, HEB, formerly known as Engineering, and I'll get over that because I'm quick to make transitions at this stage in my life. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the director of the Mount Washington Valley Career and Tech Center, Rick Bishy. There you go.
Great. Thank you. Good morning, and thank you all for coming up this morning, making the trip up here, and welcome to the Mount Washington Valley Career Tech Center. So what I'd like to do today is give you an opportunity to hear a little bit about what's going on here at the Career Tech Center, and to also have a nice tour. We'll take a look around at some of the facilities that we have available for providing education for the students of the Mount Washington Valley here at the center. I can go on for probably quite a while about what we offer, and I could go on about what career technical education is, but I think my voice is probably not the one that's going to carry the message as strongly as some of the other voices that we have here today. So I do have some students here, and I would like to ask if you could welcome them to listen to their stories about what Career Tech has done for them and where they think this is going to help them to get to in the future. So folks, if you just come right on up here, and the microphone situation is this. So we're going to kind of pass it on down through this way as we go through, and so I'll move out of the way over here, and we'll start from here. So these folks are in the Career Tech programs here at the high school and here at Mount Washington Valley Career Tech, and I asked them to come down today. And so if you guys could just share with this audience a little bit about what Career Tech has meant for you, what it's done for you, and how it's helped you, and go from there. So great. Make sure you tell them who you are, too.
All right, my name is Daniel Nash, and I'm in the machining program here. Before I even came to high school, I honestly had no idea what I wanted to do. So I ended up getting into this class my sophomore year, and I think it was at the end of that year, just from doing all the projects, I knew like this was something I really enjoyed doing. And so I stayed with it and got into the advanced machine tool class the next year, and that's when we started working on all this NASA stuff. And so we've been working with them, making all these different parts, and we ended up getting like moving up a lot faster and like in the chain of schools this year. We became an R&D, and which stands for research and design. So we ended up designing a pencil that's going to be used in the International Space Station, and we're actually working on it right now. And so next week we're going to be going down to Goddard, but that class and just seeing that has made me really want to be in the machining field. So after high school, I'm going to be going to Central Maine Community College for precision machining, and plan on getting my associate's degree in that and becoming hopefully a tool maker eventually, which is a high position in a machine shop.
Hi, I'm Austin Thomas, and I'm in the machining class too. And when I first came to Kennett, I knew I wanted to take the class. My brother had taken it with Mark Fenton, and I did the intro with him. And then my sophomore year was Andy Shaw's first year, and he just helped me from then on. Now I have an internship at Paradise Machine and a guaranteed job when I'm out of school, or if I plan to go to school after high school, which I'm thinking about attending Lakes Region Community College for a certificate program in machining.
My name is Christopher Chase. I'm in both excuse me, the machine tool and automotive technology program at the Career Tech Center. I've been in the Career Tech programs since my freshman year. Freshman year I did the exploratory class, which brought you through, kind of gave you a taste of each career tech program we had in the school. And my sophomore year, I knew that I wanted to do both automotive and machine tool. I liked both aspects. After school, I'm going to be attending White Mountain Community College for an automotive degree. And the career tech program has done a lot to bring me up to par to enter both fields if I choose to. Automotive has given me a good background and a good solid base on automotive technology and related operations. And machine tool has taught me the fabrication end of it, and also how to run machines and such as that. So I'm really set up to enter both fields, and I'm choosing the automotive. So. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Hannah Eldridge, and I did the normal girl thing, like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor or a nurse. And, like, a lot of people that I was friends with had, like, the same dreams and stuff, so I took the health science career tech class. And a lot of my friends, like, started weeding out after the intro course and after level 1, but, like, I really enjoyed it, so I stuck with it, and I'm going to complete the second level this year. And I've done a lot of job shadowing and stuff at the hospital through the school year, so I can get an internship this summer at the hospital. And I'm going to do Huggins Hospital instead because I've already worked at Memorial. And then next year I get to come back and take my the LNA course, and then I'll be able to graduate with my LNA, which is really going to give me like a push forward compared to a lot of the kids I'm going to go to college for. And it's really nice because it's a competitive field, so it's going to be like one of the deciding factors, like, do we let her in or do we let this person in? So it's like a great experience for me, and it's actually like eye-opening because like a lot of my friends chose like this really isn't for me, and that's a great chance to decide now instead of in college when you're already paying money towards doing it. And I also get college credit for medical terminology this year as well. It's a licensed nursing assistant. In a lot of other states, it's a CNA, which is a certified nursing assistant, and they're the ones that like they clean up after you and help feed people and like do the moves and stuff, so that way the nurses can provide medication and checkups.
So you can graduate with an LNA.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Kylie Kidder. I'm pursuing the culinary field, culinary arts. This program has kind of showed me the ins and out, from serving a table to breaking down a chicken, and to even making different cakes. I'm making my uncle's wedding cake right now. So I've just kind of seen everything, and right now I'm working as a line cook at the Moat. I'm going to go to White Mountain Community College to start my career, schooling, I guess. Yeah.
Hello, my name's Kip Beveridge. I'm also pursuing the culinary career in the career tech program. I'm actually a junior right now, so I still have another year to go, which is pretty fun. And the program offers a lot. Like this summer I have a chance to go to Italy and everything, to visit some restaurants and do some touring and everything, and get to learn like the ins and outs of pastry work and everything. Also, I work at Chef's Market Bistro as a line cook, and the program also helps put kids like me into fields like cooking and everything. Like I know a lot of programs help with that too. And it's just really fun, really hands-on. I'm a hands-on type of person. And just like, I love cooking. I've always loved cooking. I was always a kid at home watching the cooking channel, trying to make something. Even though I didn't know what I was doing half the time. But this program really is like hands-on. It shows you the ins and outs, like Kylie was saying. And it's just an overall fun aspect if you love cooking.
Thank you guys for coming. Great. I don't want to turn you loose quite yet. One of the aspects of career technical education that maybe people aren't always familiar with is the CTSOs, the Career Tech Student Organizations. You can see right here, Kylie and Kip, they have their jackets with the Pro Start on them, so they're part of a after-school organization, competitive club, a career and technical student organization called ProStart. But everyone here is a part of one of those types of teams. Would one of you, I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit, but would somebody mind speaking to what that is and what you get out of being a part of a CTSO? Here you go. Yeah, thanks. And then if somebody else wants to.
Okay, so I'm in HOSA, which is Health Occupational Students of America, but it's now changing, but we're going to keep the HOSA because that's what we're known as. And it's for future health professionals, and it gives you the opportunity to like job shadow with the Surgeon General, and you go like, we just had states a couple months ago, and you can take tests on like medical terminology, or like you read medical books and you have to write essays about them. And then there's like, for athletic training, you have to like see who can wrap an injured like the fastest and stuff like that. And I actually got second place, so we're right now fundraising to go to nationals, which is in Anaheim, California. And it's just like, it's a great experience because while you're there at the competitions, it's not just like you go compete and then you go sit in a hotel room. They have like actual local health care providers of like all different sorts that like sit and do seminars, so that way you can learn about them. While I was there, I listened to a musical therapy session, and like not only did they like explain what it does, like because I'd never heard of it, it's like she actually performed music for us, and it's just like, it's a great experience because you get to see like all different kinds of healthcare, but you also get to see like how somebody actually made it there and their achievements, as well as learning more, and it gives you like the opportunity to actually practice what you want to do more. And it also like, we don't just do like competing and stuff. We do local fundraisers. We do charity events. Like we did at the hospital every year. We make we'd make them something. So last year they did a gift box. So that way, if kids have to stay overnight in the hospital, they can get it. Like they give them a toy or a coloring book. So that way, it's not just like the big scary hospital experience. And so it's a way to give back to the community that you're involved in, and also get a better experience with the field you want to go into.
Quick question. Tell me again that acronym, HSO
It's
or HSA?
It's HOSA, Occupational Students of America.
Did you want to give them a dinner recommendation for this evening?
Oh, yeah, and so tonight I have a fundraiser at the Shenandoah Pub. I know it's kind of probably a haul for some of you, but we're the Shenandoah. It's up in Jackson.
These gentlemen are from Jackson.
But like I'll be there tonight if any of you have any more questions or anything. But we're gonna do a raffle, and like a percentage of what everybody's meal is gonna go to us, so that way we can go to our trip in Anaheim, hopefully.
Anyone else want to? Great.
I am part of the Skills USA team here at the Career Tech Center. I am both in automotive and machine tool skills. We recently competed at Nashua Community College. I competed in only the automotive skills team, conflict of scheduling, and placed in the top 10 there. Skills team is an after-school meeting a couple days a week. We work on different operations between both the machine tool program and the automotive program. We focus on different areas and areas we're going to be tested on at this competition. And all the schools come to specific locations. Like I said, for machine tool and automotive, it was Nashua. And compete against each other for a rank to move on to national. So.
Thank you.
How many kids are in your group?
In my automotive group, there were 7, I believe, 6 or 7 of us. In the machine tool program, there were 8 or so.
And is the teacher advisor for these groups?
Yes, the teacher of the day program stays after school with us and works on the...
Could you explain the certifications you get in automotive?
The certifications?
Yes.
What's that? I'm not entirely sure of the certifications through that program. I know we have a choice at the end of the semester, or at the end of the program, to take a student NATEF certification. So you can graduate with a student certification through the NATEF program.
NATEF being
Not entirely sure.
National Auto Association.
National, yeah. And that a lot of local garages look for ASC certified and NATEF certifications. And so we have a choice to take to graduate with that certification. So, any other questions?
Just a general question. What percentage of your total student body would you say get engaged in this aspect of the school?
We have,
Thank you.
so we, to give it, I don't know the exact percentage, and it all depends on how you count it, right? So our programs, we have intro-level programs, and we have the level 1 and level 2, which are the actual programs. So when you count all of that, pretty much everybody. So out of everybody, pretty much everyone. There's very few that don't. Now, in intro, there's a requirement for people to take a career tech class. Many will take more than one, and those are those introductory levels. That gives them an opportunity to see a whole host of things. But then when we start talking about the level 1 and the level 2 classes, that's when we're talking about kids who are choosing to make that focus. They're really looking at it, and they're going to dig in a little bit deeper. And at that point, we're looking in the range of about 300 to 350 students, although it varies over the course of a year out of our total. So at this point, if you don't, does anyone have questions for the kids? Okay, because otherwise I'm going to turn them back to their class. Yeah, yes, but if, for me? Okay. Thank you very much for coming down. We appreciate that and very much. So I'm going to have you guys head back to class. Thank you very much. Great. Yeah.
Do you have any, in the health occupational, do you have any EMT courses or rescue courses, or do they go to solo, or?
No, that's a great question. Currently, we do not have EMT certification in there. So the model that we would look at within the health science is one where you've got a health science program, so two years of classes, right? So a level 1 and a level 2 class. And then you'd have an additional component that would be some type of an internship. This is the first year that we've had that LNA program in place. And my understanding is that, and this is my first year here, but this is, my understanding is that that's been 20-something years in the works. So they're very proud to have that piece. The way that we would see that potentially going in the future is to have the LNA, to have community internships. There's a tremendous amount of interest in sports medicine, physical therapy, so that we can have internships for those. There isn't a high school level certification that we can put in place for that. But we can do post-secondary preparation. And then the third aspect would be the emergency medicine, such as an EMT type of program. So it's on the radar. It's not something that we currently have at this point in time. So.
Are you going to explain to these folks how they can become involved in any of these programs?
I am, as we go along. So what I want to do, Russ, is again, we could probably sit here for quite a while and talk, but what I really like to do is go out, and then as we're going along different places, I'd like to point that out. So in just a second here, we'll head out for a tour, and I don't know if we'll, given the time, I don't know that we'll hit every single one of the programs, but we'll try and hit as many as we can. But what I'd like to point out before we go is that, there's certain things that career technical education, CTE is the acronym, that we're really trying to do. And you've heard some stories from some students. You're going to be out in the classes today. So just to be trying to think about those things and seeing them as you go. So high levels of technical skill. Okay, we're really trying to help students develop those technical skills. So if they choose a career immediately after high school, they have what they need to be able to get a good job right off. A couple kids mentioned certifications. We're moving towards getting as many industry-level certifications for students as we can. We have the LNA program. We have OSHA 10 for the building trades program. We have ASE certifications in the auto program. We actually are, I think next year we'll have a lead paint removal certification in the building trades as well, the RPP. We have the Pro Start and Serve Safe certifications for students in culinary. So one of the ideas is to add more. Okay, so students who choose to go right away into careers immediately, they've got what they need. They can show employers that and go. So high technical skills, post-secondary preparation, and you'll hear it as career and college ready. But I'd like to just kind of think of it as post-secondary, because on June 21st, for all our seniors, it's now post-secondary. Whatever it is they're doing, it's post-secondary. So to get kids ready for that, whatever path it is that they're going to take, and not based on what paths they're going to take in September, right? So many of them will go on to some form of college in September, okay? They'll go on to a two-year technical school. They may go on to a four-year school. Some of them may go to an industry school. That's a common practice in the auto industry. Many of them may go to work for a year or two and then go back in. And we want to make sure that when they go back in, that they had the skills that they need so that they can go and be successful, not have to handle lots of remedial courses and those types of things. So really that strong academic piece. We're also focusing quite a bit on our work ethic and our work skills. That applies across all fields. So that's another piece that I hope that you can see there today. The strong connections that we're able to develop between teachers and students is incredibly important, and I think the career technical student organizations that they were just talking about will show that, and you can see that when you're out there today observing the kids and the teachers working as we go through those programs. So those are some of the really big things that I want you to be thinking about when you're out there looking around, and I'll point out stuff as we go. So, yes?
My name is Glenn Corelli. I'm on the New Hampshire House Education Committee.
Sure.
And so we're very involved in CTE centers. And I was wondering about the regional nature of your center, and if you have students from other districts and the problems that might present. We've had legislation this year to address that and look at that for the future, because there are issues in other CTE programs, I know.
Right. Access to CTE is an important issue at the state level, okay? And it's definitely an important issue. All students need to be able to have access to these programs. We're unique, or very close to unique. I think maybe Portsmouth is in the same situation as us. All the students who would access our center on a regional basis are already here. They're already here at Kennett High School because of the other agreements that are in place. So that makes us unique. The other centers aren't like that. We can start working with kids as freshmen, sophomores. Other centers, kids don't have access until they're juniors. So for us, it's a little bit of a different situation. So, but I'd like to take you guys on if we could. So.
Could I just quickly, is it mandated in the state of New Hampshire that all kids have to have access to CTE?
CTE is a part of education, part of the high school. Not all students necessarily have it, but all districts have some other one. So if you're, I couldn't tell you all the districts, but like if you're in Bow, for example, you have access to Concord. There's busing, so there's transportation funding. I think that's probably a little bit of what was being spoken about there, because that's tied to budgetary pieces. But I would really like to get you guys out into the classrooms and pull that off. So this is the shop area for our building trades program. Right now it's set up to handle a combination of woodworking as well as construction. So over here is under construction is a gazebo that's being put together, and that'll be delivered to a client upon completion. You see that, but we have a fair amount of tools that are set out here and equipment. One of the things about career technical education is that in addition to the local budget that's used primarily to support the staffing and the building and so forth, we have what's called the Perkins Grant. And the Perkins Grant, the federal Perkins Grant, provides for program improvement. And that's an extra source for us to be able to target funds to continually improve programs. It's no secret that within industry, things are constantly evolving, constantly changing, and businesses do what they need to do to keep up with those constant changes. Well, we're faced with those same things across 12 programs here. So 12 programs trying to stay at industry standard requires that extra boost in funding. So we use that, leverage that to make sure that we're getting the equipment in that's the equipment that we need to deliver these programs. So here in the building trades, we are looking at, we're going to be having some changes. A number of this workspaces are going to go out, and we're going to be looking at opening up more space for some of the larger structures that we'll put in. But it's a real work environment. And students in a room like this, as you can imagine, safety is a top concern, and they are instructed in that right from the get-go, right from the very first day. And you also have, like I had mentioned, the OSHA 10 certification. So they're getting those types of certifications that really emphasize the safety aspects that we need to think about. In terms of our facilities, all of our labs are set up so that you have a shop area, and there's also a classroom area, which you may have seen as we came through on the side, so that instructors can deliver that type of content there, because we do focus on both the practice and the theory behind this. We're making a strong effort to do a tremendous amount of math integration, especially within our shops. They're an absolutely fantastic opportunity for students to see the real-world application of math. To answer that question that's always asked, why am I ever going to have to know this? Well, we can answer that. We can answer that for stuff that kids are like, wow, you answered it for that. That's amazing. So they are able to apply those skills here while they're in these shops going through. This is a little bit of a unique situation. Russ asked me before if I was going to address the transition. We are transitioning a little bit from one type of a program to another here. The previous program that we had combined an agricultural component. So we also have the greenhouse that you walked by on the way in. It's not part of the building trades program as it exists right now anymore, but that's still our space, and we are definitely utilizing that. So right now there's a service project that's a partnership between the Spanish Honor Society and the Building Trades program, because our instructors, it's connected to his shop area, and he's pretty good at working with that stuff. So that puts that out there. We are looking to do a plant sale. If some of you are looking for your starter tomatoes, come the time when it's time to put them out towards the end of the month, beginning of June, we'll have some of that stuff available there too. So,
Rick, what's the length of time a student is in this particular workshop?
Right. So we are tied into the high school schedule, so it's a 90-minute block, 90-minute block of time. Some of the classes run every day for that, which is unique for that amount of time in the high school. That's a significant chunk of time for 90 minutes every day, all year long. Some of them run every other day, depending on the level and what the learning outcomes are for that. But typically the 90 minutes. So you can imagine that you get your tools out, you kind of get going. So we try to set up the schedule so that it bumps into some of the open times, and you can also see where the inclusion of those career technical student organizations and the time that they can open up at the end of the day for kids, where that can really become a benefit as well. So we work with all we can.
Now on that gazebo that you're building, that's multiple students from different classes that are participating in that, or is that a certain group that's just building that?
Mr. Kale, why don't you come? Mr. Kale, could you come on over for a moment?
I'm one of the oldest looking seniors here, so.
I'm going to hand you that real quick. Just hold it in your hand.
So yeah, I've got.
This is Mr. Kale, Paul Kale.
Hi everyone. So with this, this was a project that was brought on beginning of the school year, and it's for Linda. Yeah, doesn't matter. But we're making a gazebo, and yes, I have mostly my advanced class, but I have some of my wood tech, so it'll be second year students, third year students, and even some of my intro kids working on it. So yeah, welcome everyone.
Thank you.
If I could just point out that we're always looking for members willing to serve on the program advisory committee. Every program has one. I chair this one, and we're always looking for folks to participate from the industry or just interested in saying what we think can happen here, because we're strictly advisory, but we advise the school board, then the school board can act on what our advice is, so they don't have to go out and do the research. So every program that you see here has a program advisory committee. So.
Absolutely, and those are part of that Perkins funding that I was talking about. We look to those advisory committees to make those industry level recommendations for improvements that need to be seen within our programs. So those are great ways to be involved, and if anyone is interested in that, that's certainly a conversation we should have afterwards. But yeah, all 12 programs have advisory committees of between probably 5 and 8 people that sit on those. I think at this point we can make our way down the hall to the next class, and we'll do that. Clearly, this is our auto shop space, and you know, it's pretty obvious at this point. But this facility right here is what a couple of the students were speaking to you about earlier. Chris, who was in there talking about his involvement in auto. And a class is just starting, and so typically an instructor will start a class with, depending on what they're doing for the day, but they're going to start at pulling them together, make sure everyone has the plan for the day before they come on out. So that's what will be happening in there. This space here is set up to allow students to learn how to use all the tools and equipment that is necessary for the levels of certification that they have. They get a lot of exposure to a fair amount of high-tech equipment that they can use. A lot of times you might be working on a real car. You can see those here. Obviously, most of these cars are donated either through I'm not sure where all of them came from, but I know some of them come direct from manufacturers. They give them to us new, and then you work on them and you can continue to work on them. But an important aspect, too, is having assemblies of parts that can be worked on just on a bench. Not the way that a mechanic would do it if they were working on your car, but it allows students to be able to learn and work and practice without having to do all the other parts that get in that take to get in there. So, for example, if somebody's if someone's learning how to do brake jobs, we have a lab bench with a whole setup of brake setups, and students can work on those again and again without having to always take the tire off and go back and forth. And you know, things are. Mr. Harrington, our auto instructor, who's over here, he often explains it as it's one thing to take a tire off and start a brake job. This time of year, it's an entirely different story in the middle of winter when all the stuff, as that frozen car comes in and starts to drip off on you. So it allows us to do that. Again, same setup as the other one. We have a classroom. We have a shop area. There's a computer lab specifically for here as well. So this is our machine tool shop. And we had a couple students speaking to you about machine tool earlier that came in. And right now, we have a few kids that are in here working at this point because the instructor's on his prep period at this time. But there's an additional program that's happening through our machine tool program that I really think you need to know about if you haven't heard about it. And it's a great illustration of partnerships, people coming together to really help kids develop that high level of technical skill, create that motivation to find a career path, to find a passion and go on. So this program has partnered with NASA, and we've been in a partnership now for over a year. And the students are building, manufacturing parts for NASA. And I think it's a great story. And so kind of to walk you through it, the way this all started was that our instructor, Mr. Andy Shaw, who's busy, Mr. Andy Shaw took his career technical student organization that you heard about earlier to a competition and got this reputation for winning every time. And not just winning, but setting new standards for the level of his students. As a result of that, NASA, a program called NASA Hunch, contacted him and asked him to be involved in this. Now, when schools are involved, what they do is they're given a set of plans and they're asked to manufacture the parts. And those parts that they're given to manufacture are typically used in the International Space Station training facility. So there's a mock-up of the whole space station that they have. So every single part in there is the same as what's above our heads. And that's what they were making it for. So these were locker parts, pieces that held those in there. So, but they did so well at that that they got invited to become a design prototype school. So this year, what they have done is they were given, all they were given was the astronauts would like something to write with that works better than what they had. The astronauts would like a pencil. There were no plans, there were no designs, there was the astronauts would like this. And so that's what they began to do. So they went through design, prototype, and manufacturing. This is going back and forth. Folks from NASA are in and out of here almost on a monthly basis, working directly with these students here as they go forward. And we're going this coming weekend, this next week, we'll be down in Washington, D.C. At Goddard Space Flight Center with the students for a recognition ceremony. Now, you know, it's really a great opportunity to do this, but I really want to emphasize, too, that here again, they're taking it to yet another level. These kids are competing no longer with the high schools. They are actually a high school that is competing with industry manufacturers for contracts here. They're able to be at that level. And that's the type of work that they're doing, these folks right here. So sometimes, you know, when you think about, do we have a pencil somewhere that I could, real quick, or is it just, can I just take this one real quick? Yeah. So just when you think about it, right, the thing that amazes me is you think, okay, well, it's a pencil. And, okay, but when you think about it and you begin to play with these, they come apart. Every part of the manufacturing process is right here. They need to cut on a radius. They need to drill down tubes, so they need to do a bore. They need to shape these. They need to get, yeah, they start out like this. Every part of that process is here. And so for a student to take something that's as simple as a pencil and turn it into something that allows them to develop all of the different skills that a machinist would need to have, from design to prototype to revision to actually refining the manufacturing process to speed it up so that you could actually turn a profit if you were in a business, because that's what you'd want to be doing. Pretty neat. These things go back and forth from the astronauts. On Thursday of last week, our pencils took flight in the zero gravity plane and were used to document the results of experiments there. That was their beta test for this pencil to make sure that it would function under a zero gravity situation. So it took flight, and we are still pushing and hoping that these will be in supply on the space station, and we can someday load the NASA footage and see them riding. There's additional pieces that go with this to tether it so it doesn't become a satellite in and of itself.
Are they going to monogram that says stolen from?
We'll try to get those monogrammed on there, but yes.
Apply for a tax.
There is an answer to that question. It's a little tricky, and so there is an answer to that, and I don't have where we're at with that at this point. But yeah, that is definitely something that's on the table, how that's going to play out. Okay.
Do we know how many machine shops there are within the SAU 13 area? There's a lot of people don't realize.
There's a good number of them, and Austin spoke this morning about having that opportunity to get out working at Precision Machine. You know, I know that we have a number of other ones that are out there. Again, talking about partnerships, all of those shops are involved here. They are involved in advising the program, putting kids to work, raising money, all of those types of pieces. So, yeah. Yes?
Are these pens magnetic?
They are aluminum. No. The magnetic piece messes up. That doesn't work well in the space station. So.
I was thinking of having it attached to something rather than...
They have a Velcro sleeve that's going to go here. And so they have fabric patches on their uniforms, and they do this. And then they have a tether. It's actually another high school that's making the tether. So they have that. So I'm going to give you a kind of I'll talk a little bit in here. There's a study hall happening in the other room right now. This is our photography, video, our photography, video, and graphics program here. And what you're in right now is the television studio. So this is the recording room. We have the mixing room over there, and then we have the classroom over here. The software that these kids work with and train on is the same that they would be working on and training on as professional photographers, videographers, or graphic artists, those pieces there. So someone had asked me as we were coming up through, what are the programs that we have? So we have 12 programs. We've just been in the building trade. Well, we started out in our culinary program, right, because that was where we met this morning. We have the culinary program. We have a building trades program. We have the automotive program and machine tool. We have the photo, video, and graphics program. We also have a teacher education program or a child and educational studies program. This one, if you had known things about it previously, you might have known it as early childhood education. But as the next round of Perkins grants comes through, that didn't completely fit the model at the state level as well as for us. So the transition went out to changing this to a teacher education program. So we have that as well. And that is coupled with our preschool that we have here in the building, the Little Eagles preschool, as a lab for students to be able to go in and they do lesson planning, deliver lessons, they learn and understand about child development. I'm sure all of you know that it can be amazing just watching the kids and watching what they do. And in the hands of a teacher, to be able to frame the thinking around that, it's an incredible way of going forth. And we've got a great preschool as well. So we have a computer-aided design program. Okay, we'll stop in there next. We have a business program. We have a computer programming program. And we have the health science program, and then a marketing program, and a hospitality program. So those are the 12 programs that we have that students can choose from here in the building. There are other programs in existence around the state, different ones, but those are some of the ones that we have here. So this program, and again, we had somebody filming with us as well. She came from this program here. Again, we've got all the equipment to do that. They do a nearly daily news broadcast on our Channel 22 here in the building, so that they could do that. So the students have the opportunity to prepare that and get that ready, and we're probably in the way of all that. No? Okay, all right. So what do we walk you up through here? We can kind of see in here. So those competencies, if you're interested, they're on the DOE website. You can look at them there for all of the different programs. But they drive pretty much everything that we do from a curriculum basis. And not only do they address the technical skills, if you look at all of the competencies for all of the programs in the state, the second half of them all look the same. Those are those soft skills, those work-related skills that we all need to develop, whatever you're going to do. So those drive a lot of what we do. So over here right now, I think, are you guys setting up for, are you just doing a demo? Yeah, okay, right.
Pretending that somebody's on the other side of the receiving end.
Okay, so they're doing a demo for you on how the television studio works here. So
Sure, yeah.
go ahead.
Actually,
So this is Teresa Sires. She's our photo, video, and graphics teacher. And Cyan, right? Kian Duffy, right. All right, great.
and our DVD player is giving us a little bit of trouble here, so you can just show how we get the anchors, and then we have this up with a green screen, and normally this DVD player plays our slideshow, which we update every season to have the correct types of pictures in the background. And there we go. Now let's just shoot up there. And we can put that on the behind the person on the green screen. And then we switch over to weather, which again, this is the weather in sports. We have backdrops that correspond to whether or not it's winter, football, baseball. It's great. Yeah.
This is our CAD program, our computer-aided design program. So this is, again, just like all of our other programs, it's a 2-year program with a level 1 class and a level 2 class where students are learning how to use computers to design and design to build. And they take that from just doing from the drawing aspect up to some introductory engineering concepts that are done as well. So these folks, these guys are all working on various projects that they have going right here. And the other thing that we do in this room that I want to point out is our robotics. And robotics is kind of connected to our computer programming program. But really it's sort of both, because you need to program the robot, but you also need to construct and build it. You need to conceive of what that looks like. And I know even at one point they needed a part for a robot that they didn't have, that didn't exist. So they had somebody design it in their software, and then they printed it on the 3D printer. And then they had the part that they needed to go from there. So kind of a neat thing. So Mr. Riddensdale, who's over here, Joe Riddensdale, he's the instructor for both robotics as well as the CAD program.
Actually the part.
Oh, you had it right there. Wow, that was a long time ago, too. Nice. Way to go. So kids have a great opportunity to not only design pieces, but they can actually, using our 3D printer, print that out and get that. I wouldn't call it immediate feedback. It's about a 24-hour process, but they print that out and they can get that feedback on how what they designed actually worked as a part or piece as they go through. So again, it's one of our 12 programs. This one is definitely one of the high-tech ones. You can see here they're all working from computer stations. And I think the integration with the robotics is fantastic. And a little bit bigger than just just career tech and just our center. I think that one thing that folks in the Valley should have reason to be proud of is within the fields of technology, some of the great things that have been happening. So you were just down and saw the stuff that was going on in the machine shop room. Very high-tech stuff dealing with manufacturing the parts for NASA. The robotics program, again, that takes students from the engineering as well as computer programming. Those guys just went to the Worlds. I don't know if you saw the article in the paper yesterday, placing 16th in the world for programming skills. Driving skills was placing, and there's a tremendous number of teams worldwide that go. So this is a huge accomplishment. It's the third year going to the Worlds, and they've been taking their way up the ladder of performance down there, and hope to continue to do that. But bigger than that, I know that Mr. Riddensdale has also been involved in this. They've managed to, through that robotics program, get robots out into all of the elementary schools. So this is beginning that feeder that can come right on up through. There's a robotics summer camp that's offered as well. And then another recent piece that was in the news having to do with Pine Tree School and the students there in the Sea Perch program who are also going to nationals, those fifth and sixth graders, who, I don't know if they're in fifth or sixth, but who beat all the high school kids and got themselves in. So across the Valley, there is just a tremendous amount of achievement within these technology fields that's just it's really energizing, and I think we're only seeing the beginning of that. So I think that's fantastic. Anything you want to say about your program, Mr. Riddensdale? And okay, all right, great. Okay. Yep.
You
Good.
actually taught my son, Dexter Harding, you probably perhaps remember, to do it up in Jackson.
Dexter, right.
And they put this incredible show on.
Yeah, I do want to add, thanks to Project Succeed. Project Succeed actually purchased all the robots that we use to teach Dexter and the other teachers in town, and even at the library, the Comic Book Library, they have a robotics program over there. So that was good stuff.
Really great. So.
Yeah,
Are you all IBM based rather than Mac?
IBM, yeah. Yeah, PC.
All of our programs are using PC based except for the photo, video, and graphics that are over there. Really, the only ones that need specific equipment in terms of the software are on this floor. The business program, because they need to be able to run QuickBooks and so forth, they could be either Mac or PC, but they're PC, and then obviously the needs over there. So,
how many girls participate in this program?
It certainly underrepresented, but there you go.
There she is.
Stand up, Haley.
Haley? Yeah.
And by the way, we also have a skills competition that we compete, in the statewide, and then from there we go on to nationals. Haley competed in our skills competition and came in second. On the silver.
Came in second, yeah. Came in second. There's your medal.
So that's great. And we do have actually the robotics program is increasing more female and non-traditional, students in it. So it's good to see. Good to see. Yeah. I think the robotics team is about 50-50.
Right.
Girls to boys.
Right. It is. And one of the winning teams was captained by Kathy Sandstrom. So, yeah, great. So at this point, they are setting up for lunch right now in the Mineral Springs Cafe. They're open from 11 to 12:30, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Now, of course, we're in May, almost to June, so we only have a few more weeks left that they're actually open. So instead of saying that apologetically, I would say that urgently, that it's time to really come up. They're doing buffet every Thursday this month, so come on up and have lunch, and come on up, bring your friends. But they'll be wrapping up shortly once the year comes to an end. So we didn't go to see all of the programs, but I did want to get you a sampling of some of the facilities that we have available for students. The other facilities are just as excellent. One of the things that's always good to also think about, you got the facilities, we have the facilities, but we also have a tremendous staff. And these teachers are working very hard. I think you saw a couple of good examples of that. It's more than just being in there in a classroom from when school starts to when it stops. You've heard about the career technical student organizations. They're running those. The kids are obviously very involved in making all of that happen as well. But you're also managing all of the supplies, materials, and equipment for any of those locations. A tremendous amount that goes in there. So we've got we have facilities, we have some great staff, we have some really good kids that are out there doing some great things, making all of us proud here, and that I hope that they're making you proud as well as kind of as we went through and saw that. So on that, I would like to conclude what we did and say that if anyone wants a more detailed tour, if you want to come back, if you want to see something else, please, by all means, pick up the phone, give me a call, and we'll arrange something and do that. And if there's any questions before I completely send you on your way, we'll go from there.
Well, first, not a question, but thank you. This has been so stimulating and so interesting. And
Thank you.
You do such a good job of it. Your kids are awesome in the way they presented. My question is, where can I find this information? Is there a website where I can read about it?
We do have a website, MWVCT.com, MountWashingtonValleyCareerTech.com, MWVCTC.com. Yeah, CTC, Mount Washington Valley Career Tech Center. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you don't have anything printed, do you?
We had some stuff, but we've had a few program changes that have come in this year, so I tossed around the idea of giving you the old one, but I decided, no, we're not going to do that because there's some misinformation in there now. So we will have new pieces of information coming out soon. So,
Because I would like to have that information.
Absolutely. So I can get that to you. If you just talk to me after, I'll. Yep, that'll work. That'll work.
How about the Career Tech Corner in the paper? Is that how?
We have been doing that, and so we've been trying to get a monthly article in the newspaper. It's been going into the business section. We only just started it, so we're really kind of at the beginning stages. That's the Career Tech Corner, so we're trying to write articles that illustrate things that we think would be of interest specifically to the business community. We're always putting things in the paper about student accomplishments and those types of things, and that's great stuff too. But really getting more of that information out about the kinds of ways that, what we do, for one, the details of it, going into a little more detail about what career tech education is, sort of in that written form, as opposed to the holistic experience that we tried to give you today. And and also other ways that you can be involved if you want to be involved. For example, explaining how internships and work co-ops work. If you're interested in having students in an internship and work co-op, it's not simply like here's a kid and they go to work for you. There's more involved in it than that, so it kind of goes into that.
I'm going to do an internship hopefully next year.
Oh, great. Great. We keep that on.
I got the paperwork already, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of paperwork, but I think it's a really good thing for me to do to see if I like my field and if I want to keep pursuing that in college. So when I go to college, I can get on my field. I want to do like marketing, graphic design, like marketing communications, advertising. So I want to go do that next year, hopefully, when I'm going to be a senior, and go in maybe in the morning and do that and then come to school because it counts as a school credit and also help me with experience and see if that's really what I want to do. So I think internships are very important to students, and I think it'll help me when I get into college know what I want to do, know what I'm going to do, know what I need to work on, or know like all that kind of stuff. I thought I'd just let that out there.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. And as I said at the very beginning of this, the best voices to hear this from are going to be the students as they go through. So thank you for that. So, yeah, great. All right. Thanks.